Your kids can skip this year. Mother's Day is only for the well-behaved ones, Mom said on the phone. My 8-year-old daughter's little hands froze around her juice cup. Her lip trembled. She whispered, barely breathing, Grandma doesn't love me? My name is Ariana Holt, I'm 32. And right in that second, one sentence shaped my entire next decision. If you punish my child to hurt me, I don't negotiate. I end access. I typed back a short reply. Understood. I'll cancel my card for the event. Mom left it on read and immediately forwarded my text to the family group chat like a trophy. Within 5 minutes, I saw her live Instagram story. My sister, my cousins, champagne glasses clinking, plates full of lobster pasta. Everyone laughing, captioned, Mother's Day with a real family, kiss mark. They thought humiliation would make me fold. It didn't. It activated every quiet promise I made to myself when I realized they only loved me when my money was convenient. I turned off the lights in my kitchen, held my daughter close, and whispered, You don't ever need to earn love. If they don't treat you like treasure, they lose access to you. Then I opened my banking app. I removed every linked card, killed every auto payment tied to family addresses, canceled every restaurant tab I pre-approved, froze the reimbursement line they used like water. $0 available to every single one of them. While I did this, group chat selfies kept coming in. Steaks, dessert platters, expensive wine, all on my account, all charged to the card they just assumed would process automatically because it always had. They had no idea. Within 14 minutes, the notification started. Decline, decline, decline. But the first phone call I answered wasn't from Mom. It was from the restaurant manager, and his voice already sounded tense. The restaurant manager's voice was tight, polite, but you could hear the panic under it. Ms. Holt, I'm very sorry to bother you, but your family's card is declining repeatedly. They're telling us you're on your way here with another card. I stepped outside onto the balcony, warm evening air brushing my shoulders. No, I'm not coming. And they're not authorized users anymore, I said evenly. There was a pause. You could hear the noise of plates, chairs, voices behind him. So, who is responsible for this bill then? My mother, I answered. The one who said my daughter isn't well-behaved enough to attend. Silence. Then he quietly exhaled, like he immediately understood the full picture. I'll speak to them, he said, voice steady now. Thank you for the clarification. When the call ended, seconds later, the group chat erupted. First my sister. What did you do? Then Mom. Call me now. This isn't funny. Then my cousin. We just ordered dessert. What is happening? Do you know what shocked them most? Not the embarrassment. Not the bill. Not the declined payments on the table in front of everyone. It was the realization that for the first time ever, I didn't rush to save them. I didn't jump. I didn't apologize. And I didn't bend. My daughter sat curled on the couch watching Disney, her head on my lap, tracing circles on my arm. Mommy, are they mad? She whispered. They're mad because they didn't expect consequences, I said softly. Are we in trouble? I kissed her forehead. No. We're protected. Outside. The night was quiet. Inside the restaurant, phones were being waved around, voices raised, chairs scraping, cards failing. And for the first time in years, they couldn't hide from the bill. Mom finally called, actually called, not voice notes, not yelling texts. Her voice was shaky, like she'd run out of arrogance. Ariana, sweetheart, your card must have some issue. Can you just fix it so we can finish dinner? I leaned back against the pillows, keeping my voice calm, controlled. There is no issue. I removed you all today. She didn't answer for a beat. Then the switch flipped, the same old voice, the same entitlement. You're doing this? On Mother's Day? In front of everyone? You're humiliating us. No, I replied. You did that when you told my daughter she wasn't worthy of you. Silence. Then I heard chairs drag. People whispering. Someone asking the waiter to try again. Mom hissed into the phone. You better fix this before the entire restaurant sees us being escorted out. There's nothing to fix, I said. Her breathing got sharper. "You think you're powerful because you have money?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm powerful because I finally removed access." She tried one more tactic, fake crying, the one she used when I was 10, and she wanted me to fold. But this time, beneath the shaking and sniffing, there was something else. Fear. Because she finally realized they were no longer inside the vault. She was outside, with everyone else. I ended the call, not angry, just done. My daughter looked up from her coloring book. "Is Grandma still mad?" "She's learning," I whispered. At that exact second, my phone lit up again. It wasn't Mom. It was the restaurant manager. And he only said one sentence. "They're refusing to leave. We need your authorization for the next step." I closed my eyes and exhaled. I walked into the restaurant lobby 15 minutes later, not because I rushed, but because I took my time. Mom saw me and immediately stood up from the corner table, mascara streaked down her cheeks, napkin still in her fist. My sister crossed her arms like she was the victim here. The waiter, a young guy who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else, exhaled in pure relief when he saw me. They weren't even sitting anymore, they were surrounded. Tables staring, phones recording, guests whispering. This was not the glamorous Mother's Day event they pictured. Mom grabbed my wrist the second I got close enough. "Ariana, stop this right now and unfreeze the card. We are humiliated. You humiliated yourselves when you told my daughter she wasn't invited," I said calmly. "You must forgive," she snapped, voice shaking. "Family always forgives." My daughter's voice replayed in my head, that tiny sob. "Why don't they want me, Mom?" I turned to the manager. "You can run the charge through my account," I said. "But not theirs. And only for the food already served. Not the champagne. Not the extra desserts. Just the basics." The manager nodded. I looked back at my mother. "You don't get to keep privileges after you throw away people." Mom's chin trembled. My sister inhaled like she was about to attack again. Then she saw the look in my eyes and backed down. For the first time in my life, they understood there were consequences. Real ones. The manager processed the payment, I signed, and I walked out. Mom followed me into the entrance hallway, clutching her purse, voice thin as paper. "Ariana, you're not serious about what you said earlier, right?" I turned to face her. I haven't even started yet. She stood there speechless, like she didn't recognize her own child anymore. The elevator doors slid open behind me. I stepped inside, slow, deliberate, never breaking eye contact. She stayed frozen in the hallway. And right before the doors closed, she whispered, "What are you going to do?" I didn't answer, because there was nothing left to say, only proof to deliver. On the drive home, my phone buzzed nonstop. Dad calling, my brother calling, relatives calling, screenshots, voice notes, all of them suddenly worried. All of them suddenly trying to understand my state of mind. Funny how people only want clarity when their comfort gets threatened. When my daughter was crying, they were silent. When it's their luxury brunch collapsing, they discover urgency. The moment I parked, I walked into our living room. My daughter was coloring on the carpet, earbuds in, still wearing that little purple hoodie she wore this morning. She looked up, eyes big, waiting for my expression to tell her if she should be scared. I kneeled. I didn't let them talk down to us today. Her shoulders dropped. Relief. Like she'd been holding her breath too. Then I opened my laptop. Because people think consequences are just emotional. They don't realize consequences can be structural. Inside my bank dashboard, I opened the Authorized Users tab. Mom, brother, Dad. 3 names. 3 people who treated me like an ATM dressed in skin. Remove access. Confirm. A window popped up. Processing. Completed. They wanted to play hierarchy? Fine. Let's see how they operate without access to the very woman they declared not well-behaved enough for Mother's Day. And the next morning, the real fallout started. 8:07 a.m. Before I even finished brushing my teeth, my phone lit up like New Year's Eve. 15 missed calls. 9 voice messages. 6 texts, urgent. Pick up now. Mom first. Then Dad. Then my brother. blowing up like a malfunctioning fire hydrant. I didn't answer a single one. I poured my daughter's cereal, packed her folder, tied her shoelaces. She hummed a song from TikTok like nothing in the world was wrong, because for her, nothing was wrong. That's the whole point. For the first time, the storm wasn't inside our home. It was happening outside, in the world of the adults who thought they ran mine. 10:14 a.m. Bank manager calls. Ms. Romano, your mother and brother are here demanding access. We informed them they're removed. They're not handling it well. I sipped coffee. Tell them to contact legal, not me. He paused. I already did. 11:02 a.m. My brother sends a photo. Him.
Mom. Dad.
Standing in the lobby of the bank like 3 VIPs who just found out their badges don't scan anymore. Message. Fix this.
Now.
2 years ago, this would have broken me. Now, it felt like justice finally remembered my address. At 12:45, while heating pasta, my phone buzzed again. A different number. Ms. Romano? This is Linda from Family Affairs Counseling. Your mother scheduled a mediation meeting and listed you as attending. I actually laughed. They didn't ask me. Oh, they implied you agreed already.
Of course they did.
They never ask. They assign. I will not be attending, I replied. Make a note.
She did.
And while I rinsed the pan, I realized something. They weren't trying to make peace. They were trying to regain access. Everything suddenly shifted from emotional to tactical. And what happened at 3:17 p.m. proved it. 3:17 p.m. My phone vibrated with a FaceTime request from my aunt in Florida. We hadn't spoken in 8 years. The second I answered, she didn't even breathe before launching in. Sweetheart, your mother is hysterical. Why would you do this to your own family? They said you froze cards during Mother's Day. How cruel can you be? There it was. The smear campaign phase. The make her the villain phase. The last weapon they thought they still controlled. I kept my voice calm. Aunt Lisa, did they tell you they told my daughter she's not a well-behaved child? Silence. Did they tell you they laughed while she cried? Silence, heavier this time. Did they tell you they bragged about a luxury brunch while expecting me to pay the bill they hid from me? She blinked. No, they didn't mention that. Of course not. They don't include context. They only include control. Aunt Lisa, I'm not punishing them. I'm protecting us. I ended the call, politely, and blocked her number too. At 5:51 p.m., Mom tried a new angle. A video call, holding my daughter's old baby blanket like some nostalgic emotional weapon. Her eyes red, voice cracked. Families fight, but money doesn't need to be involved. You can reverse all this. Reverse? There was nothing to reverse. This is the first time in my entire life I didn't fold. Mom, I said slowly, you're only upset because I stopped funding your cruelty. Her lips parted, like she'd been shot. Then I ended the call, mid-sob. I closed the phone, turned to my daughter coloring on the floor, and kissed her head. I'm breaking the cycle for her. At 9:28 p.m., my legal advisor texted me something that made my breath catch. It's time. 9:43 p.m. I sat at my kitchen island, laptop open, legal documents on the screen, while my daughter slept in her room with her nightlight glowing soft pink. My attorney's voice on speaker was steady, clinical. All family-linked accounts, obligations, joint access, and informal authorizations are now formally dissolved. You are legally insulated. No one can demand anything further. Do you wish to file the final notice? I looked at the blinking cursor. This wasn't revenge. This was the moment I became undeniably done. I clicked send. In less than 1 second, an entire lifetime of emotional debt was closed. At 10:11 p.m., Dad called from a different number. I answered, only because I wanted the final moment to be clean. His voice wasn't angry now. It was thin. Your mother can't stop crying, he whispered. Your brother feels humiliated. They feel betrayed. I stared at the steam rising from my tea. I felt that for 30 years, I replied. You just never notice. He said nothing. because there was nothing left to manipulate. I'm not cutting anyone out, I clarified. I'm cutting myself free. He inhaled sharply, and for the first time, maybe ever, he heard me. Really heard me. Then I ended the call. The next morning, I drove my daughter to the botanical garden. We walked among the cherry blossoms.
We laughed.
We ate ice cream at 9:30 a.m. for absolutely no reason. Her happiness wasn't a battlefield anymore. It was ours.
Pure.
Untouched. Unbargained. And as she hugged my arm and pointed at a butterfly struggling to escape its cocoon, I felt it in my chest. We broke the pattern. My family lost their supply, but I gained something they never had or understood. A life built on self-respect, not fear. I'm choosing a future where my daughter grows up knowing she never has to beg anyone to see her value. The legacy of humiliation ended here, with me, quietly, firmly, permanently.